Ken Rosenthal back again to help us lead the league in information. And one of the things that you've been talking about is players that are under the microscope, and this is why Harold has coined the term Captain Obvious for you, is because you're looking at guys that are these big-name guys who always produce, but are under a microscope. Who are we looking at?
Well, let's start the list in the National League. We'll do a National League group first. And let's start with Matt Harvey of the New York Mets and David Wright of the New York Mets. Matt Harvey, obviously coming off Tommy John surgery. They plan to start the season with him, hold him off perhaps until the home opener, April 13th, but an exciting time for Matt Harvey to see how he progresses in his final stages of recovery. David Wright, you know he had the shoulder issue all last season. It affected him, the left rotator cuff contusion. Supposedly is healthy, raring to go. If he is healthy, the Mets are a different team. There's no question about that. Continuing on, Philadelphia Phillies. Now, there are a number of guys we could list here, but I'm going to use Cliff Lee. And the reason? He's coming off that elbow injury. You remember last year, just 3 starts after May 18th, did not pitch after July 31st. And why do the Phillies need him healthy? Not because they're going to win the NL East. No, because they want to trade him. Moving on in the National League East, Giancarlo Stanton. Now, obviously, scrutiny because of the new contract, $325 million. But in a baseball sense, we want to see how he recovers from this awful night, September 11th, hit in the face. Giancarlo seems fine. Everything is good so far. But, of course, game reactions are going to be the key here. How does he react to that fastball up and in? Moving to the National League Central, and a young guy that we've talked about a little bit on the show today, Javier Baez. Now, why is he under the microscope? Because of his 42% strikeout rate last season, his struggles in winter ball, and the possibility that he might not be the prospect that we all thought he was. Joe Madden said otherwise earlier in our show, but he's a guy to watch this spring. Moving on, as we continue, also in the NL Central, Joey Votto. Remember last year, guys? He played just 62 games due to that strained left quad. His season was over July 5th. If the Reds are going to be any good, they need Votto healthy and they need Jay Bruce healthy as well. Speaking of health, here's a guy who always seems to be talking about with health, Troy Tulowitzki. Coming off the left hip surgery, did not play after July 19th last year. If he and Carlos Gonzalez are healthy, and Gonzalez too is coming off an injury, then the Rockies are perhaps a good offensive team. If not, if those guys get hurt again, obviously the Rockies have problems, and not only will they not be as competitive, they will not be able to trade either one of them. Staying in the NL West, Yasmani Tomas, the next Cuban slugger to arrive in the major leagues, 6 years, $68.5 million. The big question, the thing we'll be watching this spring, can he play third base? That's where the Diamondbacks want him. That's where they need him. We'll see if he can handle it. And finally, speaking of positions and guys, whether they can handle them, Will Myers. Now, Will Myers, obviously coming off the wrist issue, that's one thing, the offensive part of it. But the bigger question, how well can he play center field? Now, he is not a center fielder. The Padres know that. They're kind of squeezing him in because that's where he has to play for this team. But outfield defense, a major concern for San Diego, and a big part of that is Will Myers' transition from the corner to center.
That's a terrific list, Ken.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. See, I'm not afraid to compliment you.
Good.
On more than just your clothing, as you like to do with many of our guests. Who caught your eye on that list?
I thought it was Joey Votto more than anything else. The 62 games played.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought that was really good.
Yeah. The thing is that with a guy like Votto, a guy like Tulo, David Wright, Matt Harvey, the thing about these guys is that if they are either injured or have down years, the way that trickles down and affects the rest of a club that, at least in those 3 instances, are a team that, at least to start the year, are maybe on the fringe of contention to begin with.
Well, the thing I was going to ask Ken was what defines them having a bounce back? You know, what are you looking for that says, hey, this guy's good? With David Wright, the shoulder's healthy. Okay, that's great. Maybe that's what it is. With Matt Harvey, you know, is it, man, I pitch maybe you get 100 innings out of him? I don't know, you know, so I thought that would be interesting to ask you. So, Ken, what are your thoughts when you look back at the list of what makes a guy stand out as, okay, he had a good comeback?
In most cases of the guys we listed, it's just staying healthy. Because if David Wright is healthy, if Troy Tulowitzki is healthy, if Joey Votto is healthy, then you would expect they would have reasonably comparable seasons to what they've done in the past. The big question for me of that group in the health category is Harvey. Now, we all expect Matt Harvey to come back, be fine. It's Tommy John, but we've had a strong recovery rate in that surgery. At the same time, that first year off Tommy John is not always as good as the years beyond because it's that year of coming off the operation, the rehab, and all of that entails. And the other thing with Harvey is he'll be on some kind of innings limit. So they're going to start him later. They may give him a little bit of a rest in the middle of the summer to get him ready if the Mets are in contention in September. But how effective can he be coming off that surgery in year one? That's my question.